Good morning. Welcome to our production of The Spirit of America. Please join us as we explore, in story and song, the history of our great land. We begin with the Indians who first settled in this land, then on to the early colonists who came with their dreams of freedom. The African Americans who were forced to come to this country as slaves also brought with them folk traditions rich in music. Next, we'll hear about the pioneers who took the dreams of freedom and independence across this great land. This nation struggled through wars, but continued to expand their horizons and sang songs that expressed the ideals of this land.
Exciting changes came about with the discovery of gold in California. We hear songs of our great frontier. The Industrial Revolution brought with it many changes, and it was expressed in the music of the Roaring Twenties. War again has come to America, and our patriotism is reflected in our songs. This spirit of America is in all of us, just as it was in our forefathers. And we are proud to be Americans, and we want to tell you about our beautiful country and our rich heritage. So, on with the show.
These people were my ancestors, and their descendants were the Indians who met the visitors from Europe.
To my people, music was part of everyday existence. It marked the most important moments in life, such as songs of gratitude, war songs, harvesting and hunting, or songs of sorrow. Sometimes after the white man came, my people sang to remember home in the old days.
There are legends of many explorers reaching America long before Christopher Columbus, but it was Columbus's voyage in 1492 that opened the way for Europeans.
The colonists to begin arriving in the 1600s were from England, Holland, Germany, and other European countries. Where man goes, he carries his dream with him, and with the early settlers, about 3,000 miles of lonely ocean came the dream of freedom. Its seeds were planted at Jamestown, took root at Plymouth Rock, and as colonies spread up and down the eastern seaboard, the dream traveled by horseback, by stagecoach, by foot, by fat boat going upriver.
It traveled to Quilton Party, town meeting.
It traveled to Boston, where they had a tea party, to Virginia, where Patrick Henry made a fiery speech, and finally, on a hot summer day in July 1776, great crowds of people were assembled before the State House in Philadelphia, awaiting the proclamation of the Declaration of Independence.
There was tumult in the city, in the quaint old Quaker town, and the streets were thronged with people, passing restless up and down. People gathering at the corners, where they whispered lip to ear, while the sweat stood on their temples, with the stress of hope and fear. As the bleak Atlantic currents lashed a wild Newfoundland shore, so they beat about the State House, so they surged against the door, and the mingling of their voices swelled in harmony profound, till the quiet street of Chestnut was all turbulent with sound. Will they do it? Dare they do
or to death.
The year was 1781. A brand new nation has been born in revolution. And now, slowly, painfully, we had to establish law and order, settle our differences, and frame a representative government. Say, ma'am, we sure do have ourselves a mighty fine constitution. Nothing like it in the whole world. But I was just wondering, can you add a little something about freedom?
And we could choose our own religion and write what we want to write.
Can we? This is America. You bet we can. We put it all down on paper, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. And we call it the Bill of Rights. United States appeared. A Mr. Sam Wilson, called Uncle Sam by friends, was an inspector appointed by the government to receive supplies for the Army. Supplies were all marked with the initials of our country, U.S. Someone asked what the U.S. meant, and the reply was, Uncle Sam. The story was carried across the nation. Uncle Sam became the representative of the United States government and a national figure. Uncle Sam, please come tell us more about the spirit of America.
I'd be happy to. It took a lot of great men to keep those stars of liberty shining. Men like
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin.
great men, but no story of America could be told without the common man, Mr. Nobody in particular, whose restless eye and itching feet led him west to change the nation's history.
Traders, trappers, mountain men, like Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett.
All states the West Farmers Line with it.
Step by step, mile by mile, they coaxed their creaking wagons through the ruts, rocks, and mud of the wilderness road, through Indian arrows, cholera epidemics, and dried up water holes, abandoning their favorite possessions along the way, with nothing but a prayer and strong will to keep them going.
America was on its way. Links to the vast, unexplored west by the Cumberland Gap and doubled in size by the Louisiana Purchase. We had little idea of where we were going, but we were doggone determined to get there.
Hey Clem, do you think Andy Jackson's gonna get to heaven?
He will if he wants to. This was the pioneer American, confident, daring, tough as an old hickory tree. Can you cut through unbroken forests?
We will if we have to.
Blaze new trails across the mountains? How else are we gonna get there? Huddle in a one-room cabin to keep warm? We'll manage somehow. Walk miles to the nearest schoolhouse? I can do it, ma'am.
And they did it! Cramming the work of centuries into decades, changing the work of the impossible into the possible, working, singing, whipping, and hollowing the way across an entire continent.
The Homestead Act of 1862 did the rest. 160 acres of free land, courtesy of U.S. government. The French had come of age, but nostalgia was never to be forgotten.
Meanwhile, not everyone sang the praises of their new homeland. Enslaved African Americans have been brought to the United States against their will, disguising their songs as a wish to escape to a better place.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me themselves.
But the states are part of the Union.
Secession, the Union, secession, the Union, secession, secession, secession.
Naturally, the Civil War inspired many songs to comfort the folks on home and cheer the soldiers in the battlefield. The song that became the favorite anthem of the Southern states was Dixie.
The North adopted the starting song, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, as their anthem.
Eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes surround the store. He has loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible storm. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory,
The war between the states finally ended and America was one nation. The development of a country 3,000 miles wide had to depend on transport and communication. One of the ways of helping transport was the building of the Erie Canal, a waterway which stretched 363 miles long, 4 feet deep, and went from Albany to Buffalo. It was dug by local farmers and many immigrants. The only tools used by the diggers were pickaxes and shovels.
Thus, sweat, toil went into the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. But as with many difficult changes made in America, the spirit into the discovery of gold in California brought a new surge of people we went, as tens of thousands of gold-hungry prospectors feverishly sought their fortune. At home